it. Good job. Good job.
Well, when we started out with this, the first thing we had to do was to find models.
We advertised in the paper. It said artist model needed $5 an hour, no experience necessary.
People coming in thought that this was going to be more of a pornographic kind of angle here.
Some were disgusted by the idea of a nude model. Some of the people were just aghast. Sometimes mothers would be calling for their daughters, you know.
We just almost decided that, man, we've been through this so many times and all these people that I don't think it's gonna work.
When in walks a young lady with a 4-year-old,
This is the person we really want to talk to.
then we took off from there, drew with her twice a week, and the whole thing grew out of that episode.
My sister was the original model, the very first model, and I thought it was just so cool that she was doing that. I was 17, so I had to wait almost a whole year. And then when I turned 18, I was just so excited to get to do it. The artists were so good. I admired them so much. And it was just neat being a part of their world.
Life drawing is working from a live model.
Life drawing is working from a model.
Working with a model.
Drawing with a model, and usually under those circumstances, a nude model. Most of us feel like if we can draw the body, we can probably draw most of anything else we want to draw.
It's a lot different when you're drawing a person as opposed to when you're drawing a bowl of fruit or a plant.
The human body is one of the most difficult things to draw, and I think that you can kind of fudge a landscape and you can kind of fudge a still life. No one knows how big that apple really is, but there is something that people pick up on when there's something wrong with a body or a face.
You paint a flower, you paint an animal, you make a mess, nobody see it. Who cares the animal, the body a little bit long, a little short, but if a human figure, you look at it and say, no, this doesn't look right, you know what I mean?
The easiest to draw and paint are still lifes and landscapes, because who knows if that flower is really there or that tree is really that tall. The second most difficult would be architectural illustration or an architectural element, because you need to have at least some accuracy in terms of perspective and proportions. But the most difficult is the figure and portraiture. There are many reasons for it, but one is that we feel some responsibility to do the subject justice.
I think the human form is probably the most difficult thing for an artist to draw for a lot of reasons. It's a complex object. The anatomy is complex, the curves that overlap and lead one to the other. When you don't get it right, it's obvious because the proportions are wrong, the likeness is not there, and you know immediately whether this is a good drawing or not.
Clothing says a great deal about a person. When you look at them nude, there's a whole different kind of literal exposure, of course, but also psychological. When you're dressed, you don't think too much about how you sit, how you drape yourself, what have you, because there's not really any consequence to that. When you're nude, depending on how you move, can either be silly or embarrassing, or you can feel vulnerable, or any of those kinds of things. It's just more honest as an experience.
I got connected with them by my friend Brooke, who was also modeled for them. And she just said, it's a good side gig, you make a little extra money every, maybe once or twice a month. And I was like, okay, yeah, I need a little extra money, so.
I see your face. I see what's happening with the shape of your nose. I see how the corners of your mouth form. I see what your chin's doing. I see how your eyes are set. I see those kinds of things constantly.
When I started drawing in college, I would draw all day, and then I would drive home, and I would see just the shadows on the road just were so, the contrast was so incredibly insane. I could see the perspectives, I could see horizon lines, I could see the shape of someone's back, you know, all of these different things that I never noticed that are so incredibly simple and beautiful about nature and about people, but I never saw them. I never thought about them. But when you spend time focusing on trying to capture those shapes, you start to see them everywhere. They just come out everywhere, you know.
Like children have sixth sense, you know, they feel something different. Most people don't see it. The artists will see something everybody see every day, but they don't think it's interesting.
I look at the model or any subject that I'm working with as shapes, not things. Everything in nature is made up of squares, triangles, rectangles, ellipses, cubes. And if we look at the model or any subject as a combination of those things, we can kind of get our head around, oh, I can draw a square, or I can draw a rectangle, or I can do that triangle down there. Rather than the complexity and the perfection of the figure.
I think artists are always looking at light and shadow and shapes and color, whether they want to or not. It's just the habit of seeing. When I go outside, I look at the sky, and my first thought is, what colors would I mix to make that?
I was raised in a very suppressive religious environment. Women were to be submissive, they were to obey their husbands, they were to be modest and be housewives. I married very young. Horrible idea. The marriage lasted about a year and a half before I literally ran away with my car and my clothes. Just disappeared one day. I was young, you know, I was 21 and open to anything. At the time, I wanted new experiences. I wanted things that were completely outside of what I was always told that I should be doing. So I might as well do what I found exciting. And I found being seen like that very exciting.
Some people want to draw a pretty model, nice looking model. To me, I don't really care what model is. Sometimes even a little bit overweight or too skinny or too old, even better, because they're different. You know what I mean? They're unique.
Very heavy set people to very thin people.
Older men,
Very old women that are coming to the end of their lives.
We've had husband and wife sit for us, mother and infant sit for us, boyfriend, girlfriend sit for us.
we've had models, I'm sure at least initially, that strictly modeled for the money.
I definitely do like earning the money, and that is where it stemmed from for me. And don't tell anybody, but I'd probably do it for much less money.
It's not just about the body. It's about the emotional projection that the model makes.
There's so much more that goes into it than your looks. It's so much more than just being a pretty face or a nice body or a naked person.
Sometimes a beautiful woman will come in and you would think that they would be a just wonderful model, but there's something maybe uneasy about the way that they feel. You just never know who's going to be a good model. You just never know.
We've had some that I know it was a bucket list thing. Check that off now. I did that and I survived it.
We've had models that have had cancer.
I was in the middle of my cancer treatments for breast cancer, which fortunately worked out well. And I was pretty self-conscious about being bald, so I was wearing a wig all the time. The baldness probably made it more timeless in the sense that one's hairstyle changes a lot during a lifetime. It was sort of fun watching them work. Felt like I was part of a bigger thing.
We have had women that are pregnant right up to the point that you'd wonder whether they were going to make it through the session.
Social women who just kind of wanted the experience. People who were trying to kind of find some validity for themselves, some kind of affirmation.
I'm a mother. I've had 3 children. My body didn't look like it did before children. And you realize that you don't look like what maybe magazines look like you. And there's so much expectations on what we're supposed to look like as women. And then you just go, this is me. 3 children, the scars, the stretch marks, 40 something years old. This is who I am.
Have always wanted to be a fancy naked dancing lady. I didn't know what to call it or what it was for a long time, but it was something that I always had in me and something that I always was interested in. I've been art modeling for 17 years. I am just happy that I've been connected with these people. I really do feel like I belong there. I also feel valued. Honestly, I feel like I'm just sitting for a bunch of artists doing their thing and I'm just an art model doing my thing. I mean, really, it's that simple.
Well, Gary does most of the coffee making and takes care of things that need to be done to set it up. The neighbors are kind of interested in what goes on here, on Thursday nights.
We start out with 2-minute poses, and we usually do 3 of those, and that's a warm-up for both the model and for us.
There's no talking. Each person goes into themselves and gets into the zone. And for the next couple hours, there is intense focus.
The lights are low, you have bright lights on you, but it almost distorts your background a little bit whenever you're looking out.
It's almost like a spiritual experience where you are almost trance-like, creating this image in front of you that can only happen when you're focused and concentrating that much. We all take a break about halfway through, an hour into it, and have a coffee break. Sit and talk, catch up on each other. And
how were the birthdays?
They had a good time.
Tonight, last night we home.
had the birthday.
Yeah,
both
party
of them
at
last
home,
night.
yeah.
You know, they have to.
Same, we cooking all afternoon. Art
Is
cooking
the
some
one,
sauce and
what are their
then
names?
Okay, so there's
Well,
one.
is Danny going back?
Bono
Not yet. Let me go back after tomorrow.
and Jade.
Okay.
And we go back in and draw for the last hour, and those are usually the longer poses. We might stretch them up to 20, maybe 30 minutes.
As a child, I was sexually abused. There was a point in my childhood where I wouldn't change clothes in front of my grandmother, who raised me. And she always thought it was so strange and she didn't know why. And I couldn't tell her because I was young and I didn't realize that that was the reason, that was why. But I was just uncomfortable. I didn't want to take my clothes off. I didn't want people to see me like that. It hit me like a brick wall whenever I was 18, and it took several years to process. Being vulnerable and being nude in a group full of mostly men most of the time was almost like a part of overcoming that I could go and I could talk with these people and I could take my clothes off in front of these men and I was okay and I was safe and I was comfortable. The strength and the healing that I've gained from the group and from feeling comfortable and the support and the acceptance has I mean, I wouldn't even put a price on it. It's incomparable.
I just kind of create them in my head as I go, and sometimes I'll be thinking about the next pose while I'm sitting in one.
If I'm getting ready to go to art group, I look up, Google on my phone, nude modeling poses.
I definitely look at model poses online to get ideas.
If this model is an experienced person at posing, they will be able to get into a pose that is interesting, unusual, and aesthetically pleasing.
Whenever you do that pose, that one where you're twisted in your arms behind your back or whatever it may be, it's like an unspoken, like, hey, look what I'm doing. Can you, like, let's see what you can do, you know?
Sometimes I'm just thinking, just stay fucking still and don't move because it's torture and something's hurting.
To sit absolutely still for any lengthy period of time is difficult both psychologically and physically.
If you're not conscious about kind of how, you know, your muscle is going to get sore after like 3 minutes, then you're going to be shaking and uncomfortable.
You don't realize that just holding an arm up will make you sweat profusely in 20 minutes.
I'm posing for 3 minutes for gestures, for 30 minutes for long poses. You don't move.
I've had limbs fall asleep and they just fall.
During the longer poses, I have fallen asleep before. And you just lay up there and you get so relaxed that you just end up, you know, drifting off.
The model is part of the group for that evening. She's an important part, and we want to talk to her and hear about her life, and she becomes a friend. You know, there's great coffee, great conversation, there's lovely music. Possibly that's a good break from her regular life, to be special and to have adult conversation.
And this one for.
Is this your invitation?
Yeah, this. Anyone who just have a thank
How can
you.
we live up to that?
I know. The art drawing for me almost like you the boat on the river against flow. You stop, you turn back. So you have to keep a practice, go ahead time. So to us, just keep a drawing, just keep your skill up.
My intent is to be here with the group, enjoy the camaraderie, share gentle and thoughtful critique, and spend an evening with people I care about and doing something that I truly love. And if something good happens from it, that's great. If it doesn't, we'll do it again next week.
You know, I started the drawing group 12, 13 years ago, and my boys were small. I hadn't even finished an undergraduate degree, so I've been through a bachelor's degree and a master's. I've gone through 3 jobs and just, you know, different things. And so, but through all of that time has been this group of just these people that supported me. The mentoring, the friendship. I kind of joke that they're just kind of like I have this group of fathers in a way, you know. It's just an amazing opportunity all around. I'm just absolutely fortunate to have been a part of it, to be a part of it.
What else would we do but get together and draw? There's no reason to stop that. And as artists, it's something we need to do constantly all the time.
I think that the heart of this whole experience of life drawing is a kind of dance. It's a kind of collaborative dance that we do, model and artist, where we're trusting one another, we're sharing with one another, we're each offering something to the process. We each have hopes for the outcome. We each are experiencing this kind of humanity exchange that is spiritual at some levels, certainly profound in terms of trust and friendship. And I think it's that dance that it's really about, and it's part of what we look forward to, partly what we miss when we don't have it. But it's profound. Great job.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate you.